What's up? Welcome to SGPN's A Daily Dog, episode number 32. I'm your host, Britton Hess, and I'm here to give you my favorite fantasy plays for Underdog Fantasy on Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Hopefully you like the new music. I accidentally deleted my audio file for the old music, but hey, I tried something new yesterday and we won our slip, so let's keep it going. If you want me to go back to the old music, let me know. If you like the new music, let me know, and I'll decide what we move with going forward, or maybe we'll change it every few weeks. Who knows? So yesterday we had a nice time betting, or making underdog picks, I should say, on the home run derby, and I did recommend some bets, so hopefully people were able to cash in on those. But we're going to go back to the MLB All-Star Game for our slip today. There's some tennis happening right now that is not necessarily the only tournament in North America is Rhode Island, and just the timing and the matches that are going to be available when people are listening to this are going to be very limited, and I don't want to force a tennis play for nothing. So let's wait till they get back on the North American swing before we start going tennis full bore again. It's going to be All-Star Game slip. I will get right into it right here. We're going to start out with Jose Ramirez, higher than half of a total base. This is a Scorcher 1.05x. Jose Ramirez has played in 5 All-Star games. He's got hits in 3 out of 5 of those. He's got hits in his last 2 consecutive All-Star games. He did participate in the home run derby yesterday, but he's a switch hitter. He can kind of make the matchup how he wants it when he's facing these All-Star pitchers, and he's just a pro hitter. I'm not really going to be sad to have Jose Ramirez on my slip. I think that he can get a knock, he can get a home run, he can do a lot of things with the bat in his hand. So Jose Ramirez is going to start off this 3-leg MLB All-Star Game slip. Next, we're going to another AL player. This is going to be Vladimir Guerrero Jr., higher than half a total base, 1.1x. He's a former MVP of the All-Star Game. He's been to plenty of All-Star games. This stage is familiar to him. He was basically being the de facto coach for Teoscar Hernandez yesterday in the home run derby, which much love to you for that, Vladimir Guerrero, because as you know, we had a plus 950, 10 to 1, 14 to 1, depending on when you got it, Teoscar Hernandez to win the home run derby slip. So thank you, Vladimir. You earned a spot on the show slip for the All-Star Game. Last leg, we're going 3 legs here, which, I wanted to go 2, but honestly, I felt so good about Jose and Vladdy that I was just happy to, put them both on here. They're both going to get a knock in this game. I'm very confident in that. Then I want to go with Paul Skenes as the last leg as the NL member of our slip, higher than 1.5 strikeouts. He's starting this game. He's getting Steven Kwan, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge. None of those guys have seen Skenes yet, so that's actually in Skenes' advantage. Obviously, they're great hitters, but we've seen Skenes a lot this season, and he does really well the first time through against a lot of batters. He's a rookie starting the All-Star Game for a reason. It's because he mows down the tops of lineups to start games for the most part. So I think that there's a very high chance that he gets 2 strikeouts in this first inning. He probably won't play more than this first inning, so it's a little bit of a white knuckle spot where we're going to be watching very intently in that beginning of this game. And also, Jose and Vladdy shouldn't be batting at the top of the order and starting this. I think Ramirez is starting this game. I saw starting lineups, but it's an all-star game. That stuff is obviously all subject to change until the guys are in the batter box, if you ask me. So I don't think that Jose or Vladimir are going to be able to hurting us in this Paul Skenes pick. So yeah, this is a 3-leg show slip, 6.86 multiplier. It is Jose Ramirez, 1.05x higher than half a total base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 1.1x higher than half a total base, and Paul Skenes higher than 1.5 strikeouts, 1.1x. I have a feeling that all of these are going to move. I have a feeling that people are going to just be chasing names when they are putting in their underdog slips before the All-Star Game. So I would recommend trying to take this one early if you're behind some of my logic on this. That is my show slip for the MLB All-Star Game. I gave out a little bit of betting advice yesterday. I did some deep data analysis on the home run derby and ending up with Teoscar Hernandez and Marcell Ozuna with my 2 picks to win it. Ozuna didn't make it out of the first round, but Teoscar held on by the skin of his teeth every single round and won that whole thing. I also had, if you're following me on Twitter, I had some first-round matchups where I was just aggressively fading Pete Alonso. If you want kind of the cliff notes, basically, I had a theory a couple years ago that StatCast data is actually very instructive for who does well in the home run derby. So I went back to 2015, ran StatCast numbers for every single participant in the home run derby, and I was able to find some trends. Basically, there's 5 key categories that I identified, and if you are in the top half, if your average rank in the field is in the top half of the guys at the derby, you have a 100% chance of winning it, basically. So guys like Jose Ramirez, who did look good in this tournament or in this contest, he didn't really have a shot to win it because he was just not. He doesn't have the consistent consistent hard hit rate, exit velo, and all those things that contribute to the ball getting out of the park. Ozuna was a bit disappointing in the first round, but hey, he did better than Alonso, which was great. And I don't know if you follow me on Twitter. Again, it's at Britton Hess, but I did break down just the key metrics, how Alonso looked in the years when he won the tournament versus how he's looked in last year's and what his numbers are this year. And I was like, dude, this is not a guy who has a pedigree right now based on this season to win the home run derby. The way he's swinging the bat is not consistent with what home run derby winners do. But that's enough about yesterday. Let's get into trying to make some wagers on this MLB All-Star game. So I went back and looked at the last 15 years. I felt like that was a decent sample. I mean, obviously, these things change a ton year to year. But I wanted to just go back 15 years, just kind of get a good idea of what is going on. You're going to see a lot of people talking about how the AL owned the NL. They won, like, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 11 straight. From 2013 to 2012, they won 10 or 11 straight. The AL was owning the NL, but I think that that's kind of a lot of randomness. I think obviously now the DH is on both teams and in effect is obviously playing effect in this. And also the NL won last year, and we have seen a lot of streaks with this tournament. There's at least in the last 15 years, there's never been a AL, NL, AL. You know, it's always they win at least 2 or 3 in a row. So that's not really a real trend that I would bank on. But I will say that there's actually a lot fewer runs in these games than you would expect. People are, the average Joe is going to be like, oh, wow, it's the best hitters. They're going to score a ton of runs. But really, the pitchers usually win the day. That doesn't mean there's not a lot of hits, though. There's on average about in the last 15 years at least, there's an average about 15.9 hits per game, but only about 6.7 hit runs per game in these All-Star games. So they get into some trouble. They get into some trouble, but they don't necessarily let the runners convert. So I made a wager on this. I feel really good about it, which is lower than 25 hits, runs, and RBIs in this game. Not hits, runs, and RBIs, sorry. Hits, runs, and errors. Lower than 25 hits, runs, and errors. You have to lay some juice. Minus 125 is what I saw. But again, in the last 15 years, this has only gone over that 5 times, and it's been under in 10 times. The average is 24. But in 2008, there was a crazy game where where there was 39 hits, runs, and errors in that game. If you take that one out, the average per game is like 23, 22. So it does definitely, or actually, I need to change the function or whatever. It makes a big difference basically when there was 39 hits, runs, and errors in the 2008 game. That's kind of messing with the data. Outside of that, there's not been an All-Star game with higher than 30. So yeah, I'm very comfortable with lower than 25 hits, runs, and errors in this game as a official show pick that I'll give out. Obviously, it's not going to be tracked on the Underdog sheet because that's just all for Underdog picks, but it will be up on Twitter and it'll be for all to see. And then I also did a little bit of research on the MVP. So in the last 15 years, the MVP has been on the winning team all 15 years, which obviously makes sense for this type of game. There's only been 2 pitchers, and they've been in pretty unique circumstances. One was Mariano Rivera in his last season in Major League Baseball, so it was kind of a symbolic thing in a game that had no home runs hit. And then there was also Shane Bieber in 2019. He had 3 strikeouts in 1 inning. I think it was the 7th inning. And in that game, and I think that's when the AL took the lead and they won that game. So yeah, if any of these pitchers have 3 strikeouts in 1 inning late in the game and kind of a high leverage spot, maybe they've got a chance to win it, but I doubt it. And then outside of that, the winners have all had a home run in the game outside of, I think it was 2014. Trout, there was no home runs, or at least not on the winning side, but he did have a double and a triple. And then there was a Brian McCann in 2010. He had 3 RBI double, and there was no home runs hit in that game. And then in 2009, Carl Crawford randomly won it with one single. I don't want to go back and rewatch the footage. I have no idea why he won the home run derby. But this is all to say that the key to winning the home run derby, or not winning the home run derby, winning the All-Star game, MVP, is basically comes down to hitting a home run late in the game and your team taking the lead. Or if you have very high production in your early in the game at-bats like Trout did in 2014. So this led me to identify 5 guys that I think are worth putting a little bit of coin on. One is Marcus Semien. He should be batting at the back of the lineup for the AL team. He should be a starter. But there's only really one other true second baseman on the team. There's not really a ton of infield mobility on this AL roster, so I think that Semien might actually get 3 at-bats in this game. And if he does get 3 at-bats in this game, then he's got a good shot to put up the numbers it takes to win the MVP. I had him at 45-1. Next on the NL side, I took Jurickson Profar at 45-1. He's been in the league a long time. This is his first All-Star game. I think he's relishing this opportunity. This is basically a vibes play, not how I usually do it, but switch hitter, so he can kind of adjust to the matchup as he wants. And again, 45-1 with a guy who's this late into his career, never been in an All-Star game. I think he is going to relish this opportunity. Next, Anthony Santander at 50-1. Again, he's a guy that's going to be coming off the bench. He's a home run hitter. So if he hits a home run that determines this game, he's got a great shot to win this MVP. Then Brian Reynolds, just a professional hitter, 66-1 late in the game. He's going to be coming in. And again, he can hit for contact, he can hit for power, he can run bases, he can do it all. So I love having him. And then this one really blew my mind. Another NL outfielder, Heliot Ramos, who's so hot right now if you're paying attention to the show. We've used him on show slips, we used him on Dong Squads. Heliot Ramos, 75-1 to win the MVP. Again, this award comes down to basically hitting a home run late in the game that helps your team win it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the last run in the game, but if it's the run that you get your team ahead and you guys don't relish it, or if it's the go-ahead run, game-tying run, whatever, so basically I'm just saying, try to target somebody who can, 1, get a ton of productivity early in the game with a lot of total bases or home runs, or 2, target someone late in the game who is going to be swinging for the fences, who could hold the game's outcome in their hands. So I'll repeat those 5 I keep on saying home run derby, sorry, those 5 All-Star Game MVP picks. Marcus Semien, 45-1. Jurickson Profar, 45-1. Anthony Santander, 50-1. Brian Reynolds, 66-1. Heliot Ramos, 75-1. Don't go out and risk your next paycheck on these, but I do identify these guys as having legitimate value, legitimate shot to win it. Aaron Judge is like 8-1, 9-1 to win this thing. I don't know if he's going to have enough at-bats to actually do that. Like he might get 1 at-bat in this game legitimately, depending on how he's feeling. We don't really know what the usage these players want is going to be in this game, because they obviously still have half the season to play afterward. And Aaron Judge is obviously a very important player of that Yankees team, so he doesn't want to just mess around and take at-bats for free. So again, I'll repeat the show slip, and I'll repeat the All-Star MVP bet and the All-Star MVP picks at the end. So the show slip: Jose Ramirez, higher than half a total base. Vladimir Guerrero, higher than half a total base. Paul Skenes, higher than 1.5 strikeouts. That's a 6.86 multiplier on Underdog. And if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with promo Daily Dog. Get those promo funds. You can get up to $250 in free money for signing up with promo code Daily Dog. Use those bonus funds on your show slip right now. I mean, it's basically getting to do it for free. So that makes a lot of sense. And then I said lower than 25 hits, runs, and errors in the All-Star game. Most of the time it goes under that. I'm happy with doing that again here. Then lastly, I have 5 selections for the All-Star MVP, all pretty long shots. Marcus Semien, 45-1. Jurickson Profar, 45-1. Anthony Santander, 50-1. Brian Reynolds, 66-1. Heliot Ramos, 75-1. All right, that's it. Let's enjoy the All-Star game and let's make some money.